Yeah. Hmm. All right, let's go. You feel me? Hmm. We are the breakers of curses, the casters of glorious conspiracies, and the creators of the new world. I, Cassandra-Floyd, am a divine instrument of my mother's divine will. As such, I am protected and guided by the sacred blood and water of my mother, Jacqueline Jeanette Cook's body that anointed my entry into this life. I am divine because she is divine. Mommy and I are one. I call all of our mothers to this moment. I call on they who govern everything, all time and every space in between. She with 10,000 names. Today it is Oya, Yamaya, Oshun, Iami Ajay, the divine architects of existence, usheresses of the new age. Mommy and I are one. I call upon the divine ancestors and the ashe of every mother on earth to break every curse ever cast upon the mother and her children in all timelines and in every dimension. Mommy and I are one. We, the divine children, we, the mother's divine children, conspire together today to forever bind those who have or would harm you, great mother. Mommy and I are one. We conspire together today to destroy everything and everyone in every timeline and dimension that has caused suffering and despair. Mommy and I are one. Today, we embody the sacred and divine power of our mothers. Today, we the tree, we the weavers, rewrite all time. Today, we the tree, we the weavers, rewrite the book of life. Today, we, our mother's children, call the winds of change. We conjure the primordial dark. We summon the sacred serpent deep from within the earth. We subdue the rogue sun. We control the light. We heal the harmed. We embolden the fearful. We instill courageous action. Today, we are staging a global evolution as is our mother's divine will. Mommy and I are one. We, the architects of the new age, now create the new institutions, the new traditions, the new culture, the new ways of being. We ecstatically welcome the radical destruction of all institutions of hate and harm erected by the godheads of war. Mommy and I are one. We have the power. We have the voice. We are the portals of change. Now we employ our sacred breath and give life and sacred blood to this conspiracy. Mommy and I are one. We command, come the wind, come the storm, come the lightning, capture and judge all godheads of war and all betrayers of the mother's divine will. Bring their confusion and war to an immediate end. Scatter them to oblivion, never to be resurrected. We are the fates. We are the furies. We are the Iami Aj. We are the disseminators of divine time, divine retribution, divine rectification, and evolutionary justice. Mommy and I are one. We are the restorers of heaven on earth under the mother's divine reign. We wake the sacred serpent from her sleep to assist us in this sacred assignment. Mommy and I are one. Love unlimited is our birthright. Harmony is our birthright. Ecstasy is our birthright. Pleasure is our birthright. Freedom is our birthright. This is her divine will. We are the executors of her will. We speak her will into the now to reverberate throughout all time, all space, and all dimensions. It is certainly as we say, forever and ever, Mommy and I are one. Mommy and I are one. Mommy and I are one. Okay, I got an attitude today. But before I tell y'all why I got an attitude today, I wrote something new. So I'm going to share this with you instead of the normal reading of the prophecy of the Sibyl of Kamea as given to us by Mama Zogbe in the book The Sibyls, the First Prophetesses of Mami Wata. And also I'm going to bypass the reading of our regular conspiracy, which is the glorious conspiracy of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. For those of you who do not know, for those of you who are tuning in via TikTok, which I'm rarely up on here, share my live feed and come and get this medicine. I got an attitude that's gonna function as medicine tonight. I got something for y'all on the eve of this here last full moon of this here year. So I wrote something new. I wrote another conspiracy. You feel me? And so this conspiracy, you're gonna have to work with me because I'm still working on it, but I felt the need to share this with y'all today. All right. We know who we are now. We know where our destiny lies. Our destiny lies with our sister witches, with our sister witches, with our brethren. Our destiny lies with our great cosmic mother. Mommy and I are one. Our mother's power is our power. Our mother's will is our will. Our mother's judgment is our command. This is the moment we have been waiting for all our lives. This moment is why we have this power. We use our power for our own desires because our desires aligns with her desires. We use our power to seek vengeance. We use our power to call for his heart, to call for his life. We use our power to call back our wealth. We use our power to call back our happiness, to call back our lives. Our mother's wealth, our grandmother's wealth, and all the way back to the beginning. This is her divine will. We are the executors of this will. Mommy and I are one. Mommy and I are one. Mommy and I are one. This is gonna be yeah. I'm gonna be adding more to that. I'm gonna be adding more to that. I was on one when I wrote that, but I'm gonna be adding more to that. Yeah. So let me just, I know I've been up off here for a while. I know y'all been sending out the search party. You know what I'm saying? I know I made some promises to you that I am not prepared to, to fulfill today. I know some of y'all came up on here, have been blowing my emails up about the yeah. 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 About the matrix breakdown, and I have been working diligently on it, and fortunately I'm not the only one. The young woman who I told you is going to be a part of the first part of the matrix breakdown, I hit her up 2 days ago. I was like, look, I ain't ready. This is so much deeper than I anticipated, and I'm not ready. So we're going to do it next week, next Thursday. I promise. Okay. I promise on all things sacred. Next Thursday, we will be doing the 3-part series breakdown of the Matrix that I promised. Okay. If I can do it, I'm working on something because I'm going to be interviewing for the first part, the young woman that I told you. Am I talking to myself? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't see nobody up on my YouTube, which is rare. Anyway, yeah. So that will happen next week. I will be sending out the Eventbrite most urgently. Okay. Those of you who are viewing, thank you so much for that. Mwari. I hope I didn't pronounce that wrong. Yeah. So those of you tuning in via TikTok, I am dual streaming from my YouTube and also from my TikTok. My name is Cassandra-Floyd, also known as the Daughter of the Fates, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. And yeah, so I got some things to talk about today. It's been maybe a week since I've done a live, and there's a reason that it's been about a week. And I know everybody is I know everyone is having the same experience, in different ways, because that's the intention. And the reason I decided to do this particular live, for those of you tuning in on TikTok, I'm also live streaming via YouTube. And on YouTube, the title of this live was "Faith is the Sickness." Faith is the sickness. Belief is the prescription, and both are deadly. That's the name of it. Yep. Faith is the sickness, belief is the prescription, and both are deadly. Yep. So that should give you some clue about why I got an attitude and why I'm up on here the way that I am. I'm going to try to keep this succinct and brief because there is something I want to do tonight, and I don't want to miss it. And especially since it's the eve of the new moon, the full moon. So I'm not going to miss it. I'm going to keep this as brief as I can. And if I have to come back later and do another live, fine. But I want to go dancing tonight. I haven't been dancing in a long time. Because the world is wild, and sometimes for me it's been a long time since I've been dancing, and that's not like me. But yeah, the world's been crazy, and I decided that tonight, on the eve of this here full moon in Gemini, and I'm a Gemini rising too, I'm about to go shake something. You feel me? I'm about to go shake something. I'm about to go cut the fuck up. Yes, I am. About to go cut up. Because I cannot allow my enemy, I cannot allow my adversary to subdue me. I cannot allow it. As a matter of fact, I won't allow it. I will not allow my adversary to subdue me, which is what he has been attempting to do. I will not allow it. I will not allow it. I am a Gemini rising. This is a Gemini full moon. It is the last full moon of this year, and it belongs to me. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine. And I am going to go out and take hold of the reins of power. Yes, I am. That is what I'm doing tonight. I'm going to go out tonight, and I'm going to take hold of the reins of power this evening. So let me just tell you, there's so much. There's a reason that I felt motivated today, this moment, to do this live. I am going to attempt to narrow because there was so much I wanted to discuss. But I'm going to start with something that I want everybody to know. And so I think it's important for us to know. I think it is important for us to have in our mind all the time, despite the noise, despite the deliberate orchestration of chaos, attempting to take our attention everywhere but where it needs to be. So there's something I'm going to start with, and then I might go on a couple of diatribes here and there and to and from. But I drew actually a chart for you guys tonight. Hopefully it will make sense. But a friend of mine has been out of the country for about 4 months, and he sent me a text today. That's what prompted me to actually do this live. He sent me a text today. And the text, he said, he sent a screenshot of apparently Candace Owens making a tweet that is, you know what? Actually, let me go handle something really quick. So apparently, Candace Owens made a tweet today or whatever, saying something to the effect of she had it on good energy or some shit that that this administration was orchestrating a quote 9/11 like catastrophe. I'm paraphrasing. I meant to save the quote so I could read it to you, but paraphrasing that this administration was planning some 9/11-esque catastrophe for the second week of December. Okay. The second week of December, as some of you may or may not know, is typically December is a really energetically important month anyway. We never pay the kind of respect and reverence to this month that we should, because our attention has been deliberately corralled for us to avoid how important this month is. Historically, it's easy to say that this month is probably the most important month of the year. And I'm talking about cosmologically, I'm talking about astrologically. This month quite possibly is the most important month of the year. But because our adversary has taken possession of the month to wheel our collective energy in an opposing direction. And when I say an opposing direction, I'm talking about a direction that is opposing to our interest, to wheel and wrangle and lead our attention to a place that is antagonistic to to what benefits us. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm gonna break it down because I'm not trying to be too cerebral. I'm not trying to be like over anybody's head. I want you to get this, because if you don't get anything else that I say tonight, that's why I'm opening with this. This you need to get. This is an extraordinarily important month. Next week is what some people refer to as the 12-12 portal. So numerologically, double digits are considered significantly more powerful, right? They're master numbers, right? Those master numbers tend to exemplify and increase the already powerful energy that comes with numerology. And when I say energy, I'm not talking about some abstract, imperceptible shit. When I talk about, quote, the energy or the power of numbers, when we talk about the power of numbers, we're talking about a very perceptible energy. Our ability to understand everything in the universe is directly in par with our ability to understand numbers. So I'm not talking about, child, let me tell you, goddamn, I'm not talking about no esoteric, imperceptible, intangible woo-woo shit. That's not what I'm talking about. As a matter of fact, I'm never talking about that. And there's a reason why. But anyway, so when you have numbers that already represent a certain stage in life, a certain stage in a year, a certain stage in political life, and then you double that as a master number, doubling 12-12, right? Then whoever is taking advantage of the knowledge, the sacred science of numbers, that the entire universe and everything that we can conceive of as the universe is made up of numbers. Everything, all things, everything is made up of numbers. It's made up of numerical energy. You understand? And I'm talking to you as a scientist. I'm not talking to you just as, quote, some woman who created a temple. I'm talking to you both as a scientist, as a realist, as a pragmatist, and as a spiritualist, as a minister. Do you understand? And so this girl, Candace Owens, makes this declaration today that we must be prepared because the Trump administration is plotting and scheming on some, quote, these were her words, 9/11-esque catastrophe for the second week of December. And so when he sent me that shit, I was like, I ain't surprised. I said, I have been preaching from the rooftops for quite some time now, 5 years now, about what was coming down the pipe. And when this dude, when y'all ran to the polls, and y'all know who y'all is, ran to the polls to elect Donald Trump, I knew, first of all, I knew that you didn't elect Donald Trump. That's a story we'll probably get into on another day. But I knew that this was the culmination. This was the culmination of an orchestrated, well laid out chessboard that was leading to this moment, personified by Trump becoming the president of the 47th president of the United States. Okay. Now I'm gonna try to break this shit down. So when my homie sent me this text today talking about what you think about this, what's the astrologer saying about what Candace Owens said about Trump administration, because it's quote desperate, is planning some 9/11-esque catastrophe on the second week of December. We have to remember, and I find it really frustrating that so many astrologers these days do not. And I'm not an astrologer, you understand? But I find it really frustrating that even astrologers forget that what they are responsible for doing is not only, quote, telling us based on these astrological and astronomical alignments what the possibility is based on what they see and witness right now, but also that same energy, what its actual antagonistic possibility is. Everything that happens has a possibility that is its antagonist, its opposing opposite. And unfortunately, because this administration has done such a good job of terrorizing the hell out of you, terrorizing the hell out of the entire planet, all we see are terrible possibilities. And none of these astrologers are coming out here and saying with a whole ass chest, the possibilities are based on our participation. Why? Why has it been that your adversary has seen so fit to minimalize who you are on earth? Why is it that their primary campaign is to reduce you to the collateral damage of whatever war they are waging at any given time? Why is it that the narrative is always about your individual smallness and what can one person do? Because they recognize you even as you don't. Even as you do not, they recognize you. They see you. They know who you are. They do. Of course they know who you are. What was it Amy Goodman that just said, I just told y'all not too long ago that she interviewed the 3 leading economists on the planet, on the whole earth. And all of them conceded, well, even though it's controversial to say how much a human life is worth, essentially it's about $8.1 million. Everybody born on the planet, from the moment they are born, their value is $8.1 million. Why would economists come to that conclusion? Why would they even be crunching numbers like that if they didn't know you, if they didn't see you, if they didn't understand who you are? You understand? And so I'm saying this because this campaign that Trump promised you, by the way, but y'all got short-term memory, which they rely on. Trump promised y'all the day he was elected that come January, I am going to be initiating a shock and awe campaign unlike any that has ever been seen. That's what he said. That's what his entire administration was chanting like a mantra for the weeks leading up to the new year. That's what he kept saying. Why he kept saying shock and awe? Why he kept saying shock and awe? Why he kept saying shock and awe? Why? I ain't gonna go that deep, but I'm just saying, I'm getting to a point. What I am saying is that we have to accept that the power is ours for the taking. I understand because I am in the midst of it myself. Some days I be up in here subdued. I'm not gonna lie. Some days I be up in here overwhelmed, but then I have to shake the shit out of myself. Do I or do I not believe why we are here? And I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about every single one of us. Every single one of us. Why are we here? Why are we here in this moment? Why are we here thinking, reasoning, the ability for the first time to hear clearly, to see clearly? Why are we here? And we do not have to mystify it. We do not have to make it confusing for people to understand, no matter where they are in their life, whether they are homeless, whether they are poor, whether they are thriving, whether they are middle class, whether they are working class. We are all here at this apex. Woo! At this apex moment. Ooh. Hold on. God. God. Oh. Oh. Listen, we are here at this moment. And the only thing that lies between us and the future of our choosing, listen, the only thing that lies between us and the future of our choosing is what is here, is what is right here. That's it. That's it. That's it. I know it seems so simple. It seems too simple. But baby, you have been given complicated your whole life. Not only have you been given complicated your whole life, your mom and them been given complicated their whole life. Your mama and them been given complicated their whole life. Your mama and them have been given complicated their whole lives, and it hasn't solved a thing. Mysteries and secrets hasn't solved a thing. Prayers and rituals hasn't solved a thing. Hasn't solved a thing. Hasn't solved a thing. So now, can we simplify? Can we clarify? Can we be the guardians of revelations? Can we be the facilitators of revelations? Can we be responsible for the unveiling, the opening up? Ooh, shit. Can we accept the responsibility to be the usherers in of the apocalypse? Yes, I said what I said. Somebody gonna be mad. Somebody gonna clutch their pearls. Somebody gonna clutch their pearls. Can we accept the responsibility? Ooh. Can we accept the responsibility of being what's the word? The facilitators of the apocalypse. Yes. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. What does apocalypse mean? What does apocalypse mean? Apocalypse means to unveil. That's what it means. To make seen. That's what it means. To remove the veil from that which has been hidden. That's what it means. That's what it means. It don't mean war. Show don't. It don't mean New World Order. Show don't. No, it doesn't. Ooh. What does the word revelations mean that y'all all so terrified of? What does it mean? It literally means, etymologically, it means to unroll or to unroll a papyrus. To unroll meaning to reveal that which is unseen. When you roll up the papyrus, you can't see what's in it. You cannot see it until you unroll it. You understand? That's what revelations means. That's not my opinion. That's what it means. It means to unroll the papyrus, to open up so that everyone can see that which has been hidden, that which has been kept from you, that which has been used against you through its bastardization. If only a select few know the secrets, then they can manipulate the secrets the way they see fit, typically at your expense to their advantage. So when I tell you that we don't have a choice, this is the moment, baby. This is the moment. This is the moment for us to accept the responsibility to be the architects of the apocalypse. Yes. Yeah. Yep. To take back every narrative that has been used against us. Yes. to know every secret so that we can become the possessors of those secrets that will liberate the whole planet, the whole of us. It's so striking to me that what this man, who was crafted and molded, by the way, to do exactly what he's doing. So for you to accept that Donald Trump is just some lone weirdo on a mission to destroy America, that is some very infantile thinking. It is. Donald Trump is he is the culmination of a long plan that can be undone. That's what I want to tell you. He is the part of a long plan that can be undone. I do not know where people are on my YouTube, but this is not normal. I do not know what the hell is going on. Anyway, and so I wanted to tell you the only way that can happen is for you to seize possession of this right here. That's why the live is called Faith is the Sickness, Belief is the Prescription, and both are deadly. Faith is the sickness, belief is the prescription, and both are deadly. Why would I say that? Why would I say that? Because why do you need faith when you know? And the only way that you can know is to see, is to feel, is to have evidence. I'm just giving y'all a word. You have been told your entire life to accept everything on the strength, on the belief. Hold on, let me get my cat. My cat out here staging a whole rebellion. Hold on. Dang. And he don't never do that shit until I get to talk. Dang. Boy, shut up. Cut all that noise out. You ain't even trying to come inside. Come on. You either gonna come in or you gonna stay out. But you ain't gonna be at the door making all that damn noise. Come on. Come here. Come here, boy. Come on. Come here. You do it too much. You do it way too much. Come on. Big old head sick. Come on. All that noise. Everybody at the damn apartment complex think I'm terrorizing you or neglecting you or something. Oh. Say hey, everybody. Say hey. This is Storm, everybody. This is Storm making all that noise. You understand? And so I'm saying this because we are on the eve of this last full moon that has been an extraordinarily deliberately destructive and terroristic campaign waged by the most recent personification of the Godhead of war. This is Trump. Now, then let me go ahead and tell you what I want to tell you so y'all can leave if you want to. Okay. So my homeboy called and talked about what does the astrologers and the numerologists say about look at him being all cute now. All that carrying on he did. The astrologers and numerologists have to say about what Candace Owens just said about next week. He might be planning some BS, some quote 9/11 style chaos BS. Okay. So we have to talk about the numerology. That's why I got on that whole diatribe about the importance of numbers as a science, child, as a science, as not only a science, as a predictable science. You understand? And how they use it and play in your face. They use the science and play in your face. Okay. So she say, this is what's going to happen next week. The most significant day of next week is, what boy? What you want? Is 12/12, the 12/12 portal. Okay. So not only is this week, tomorrow, the last full moon of the year, but 12/12 is the last major portal of this year. Okay. And so why would she say a 9/11-esque? Why would she say that? Why would she say, if anything that she could use to describe a strategic plan to create chaos in the United States of America, why would she say 9/11? Did Trump have anything to do with 9/11? Did we even know about him during 9/11? Like, why would she say that? It seems pretty random, don't it? It's not random. It's not random at all. So let's talk about who Trump is. Let's talk about his numerology. Let's talk about his astrology, his birth chart, because I want you to see how they be playing in your face when you do not pay attention to what they use, how they play in your face. Okay? Donald John Trump. This is numbers. Okay? Donald John Trump. For those of you who are tuning in via TikTok, it might look a little bit more disjointed because I'm streaming from my phone, but just walk with me. Those of you who are tuning in via YouTube, here you go. Donald John Trump. First of all, let's talk about his name. We've talked about it before, but for those of you who may be new, I want to go ahead and reiterate very quickly that the etymology of his name, Donald John Trump, literally means Donald means world ruler. That's what it means. His name, Donald, means world ruler. John means God gives. And Trump is a literal, it literally comes from the word triumph, which means victory. Okay? God gives the world ruler victory. Who is the world ruler? Why would we be talking about Donald John Trump as a world ruler? Why? Because of his numbers. His birth chart, Donald John Trump, whose name means to the world ruler, God gives the victory. That's what his name means. It's not me making it up. Do a search. Use an alternative search engine, but use a search engine to search the etymology of each one of his names. Okay? Now you ain't gonna do all that wiggling in my chest, dude. Okay? You gonna sit here chill, or you gonna get your ass on the floor. Okay, that's his name. All right. His birth chart, Donald John Trump is a Gemini sun, a Leo ascendant, and a Cancer moon. Donald John Trump, who is a Gemini sun and a Leo ascendant, was born on an eclipse. And this year, this summer, just weeks after his birthday, we entered for the first time since, I think, 1948, I believe, or 46, we entered another Uranus in Gemini. That happened in July. Uranus entered Gemini for the first time since 46 in our country. He was born under a Uranus in Gemini. Now, for those of you who don't know anything about astrology, Uranus in Gemini is also aligned with the United States' birth chart, because on July 4th of 1776, the United States became the United States under a Uranus in Gemini. Uranus in Gemini for the United States on the United States' birth chart has always corresponded with war. The first Uranus in Gemini, which is right before the Declaration of Independence was drafted, Uranus in Gemini was the Revolutionary War. The second time that Uranus was in Gemini in the United States, because it's on the United States' birth chart, was the Civil War. The next time was World War. Let's see. The next time was World War I, I believe, and then the last time was World War II. Every single time that Uranus has entered Gemini in the United States has been squarely involved in warfare. Donald J. Trump was born under a Uranus in Gemini. Uranus in Gemini is on his chart. And he was born under a solar eclipse. This is, and his son, his Leo is ascendant. His Leo is ascendant. Okay, so that might not, Leo is his ascendant. And so when I'm always talking about those of you who are tuning in from TikTok, because I know I'm not on here often, but those who are tuning in via YouTube, I'm always talking about this statement that was made popular in reference to King Henry VIII. And the quote is, "Beware the madness of the king. Beware the madness of the king." And even though it was attributed with Henry VIII, we can go back in history all over the planet, not just Europe, all over the planet, and look at the evidence of what then became later this quote called "Beware the Madness of the King." And what it was talking about was what happens in the minds of the powerful, particularly males, but not exclusively, when they ascend to a position of power where that power is no longer challenged by anyone. When that power cannot be held accountable by or to anyone, what happens in the mind of that power, whether it's an individual, whether it is a state, is what appears to be madness. It's like rule that descends into abject chaos. Henry VIII was a prime example, but he wasn't the only one. Emperor Nero, which is really timely, Emperor Nero is also one that personifies that, and so many others. So many others that we can point to, that once a male in particular ascends to a place of power where that power is, there's no bounds to it, there's no limitation to it, there's no one above that can hold them accountable, it appears as madness. Even if they start out, quote, as good people, as right and upright people, power unchallenged fucks up your brain. Okay, so here is his chart. Now let's talk about the numerology of his chart. Donald Trump was born on June 14th of 1946. So if you were, let me see if I can work around this cat who all of a sudden just want to be all up on me. If you were to do the numerology, I'll talk, let me see if I can pull it back. Right, so June 14th of 1946 is when Trump was born. All right. So if you do the numerology the way that you're supposed to, which is you add each section, then here is the 6. This would reduce to the number 5. This reduces to the number 10, and this reduces to the number 10. Okay. Then you go down to the next level to reduce it again, which reduces to 11 if you just take the 2 ones and put them together, or quote 2, right? If you take and add 6.6 plus 5, this reduces to an 11. So his original numerology is 1111, or if you take and just reduce it down the other way, it's 2020. It reduces to a 2020, which gives you a master number of 22, or quote 4. They still have the same energy, right? A master number of 1111 or a master number of 22. That is what his numerology reduces down to. Now, the reason the 2020 is significant is because entering into the 21st century, that's what we heard all the time. Every astrologer was saying the 2000s are is the century of the 2000s is the century of clear vision, or quote 2020 vision, the ability to see that which you were not previously able to see. That's what everybody was talking about. This from 2000 to 21, right? So this whole century is the century of 2020 vision. That's what everybody kept saying, right? So here you have this man who was born under 2 types of master numbers. 1, okay? Now, this year, his first year, in his first year of his second term, his birthday, that display that he did the weekend of his birthday, where he was trying to do the little parade that was supposed to be celebrating the 250th anniversary of the founding of the U.S. Army, but it just happened to be on his birthday. He did that strategically. Why did he do that? Because his birthday this year reduces to 9/11. His birthday this year reduces to 9/11. All right. Why is that important? That's the first 9/11. His birthday this year reduced to the number 9/11. Both of Trump's presidential terms, his first term, I hope y'all can see this. His first term was number 45, which reduces to the number 9. The year of his first term, he was elected in 2016, but he did not start serving until 2017, which reduces to the number 11. His first term was 9/11. Do you understand? His second term, which is this term, is the number 47. He's number 47, which reduces to the number 11. The year is a number 9 universal year. And so this second term of his is the mirror image, the mirror opposite, 11/9. This is considered a mirror image, right? Why is that important? Because the nigga is a goddamn Gemini, because he's a Gemini. That's why it's important. What is the sign of the Gemini? It's what appears to be, quote, the Roman numeral 2, right? It's 2 ones, like the Roman numeral 2, right? Why is this important? Because 9/11 was considered the Twin Towers, right? You got the Twin Towers, right? The twin numbers of his birth here, right? You've got this year, his birthday was literally reduced to a 9/11. His first term was 9/11. His second term was 11/9. And it was a mirror image. So if you had 9/11 and 11/9 facing each other, they would look like mirror images. You think I'm tripping? I didn't even get on this. Here, you're going to have to get down, boo. Or you can sit down below my feet, but you can't do all that squirming. I thought I was tripping at first. And then that movie, Sinners, came out. And everybody was talking about Sinners. And the obvious thing, which is these two brothers who are twins. Now, for me, I had already done this. I think it was a 3-part series on the duality of red and blue. This was years ago, 3 years ago, I think, 3 summers ago. It might have been 3 summers ago. I did a 3-part series on the duality of red and blue, right? And so, of course, when I see Sinners, the first thing before I even go to the movie is I'm like, why are these two twins dressed in red and blue all the time? The whole movie, they dressed in red and blue. That's how everybody can tell them apart. They dressed in red and blue. I was like, okay, now I'm already going back to my deep dive on the history of the duality of the red and blue. Okay, I go in here and see this movie, and I did a 13-hour deep dive on Sinners, by the way. But when I went to see the movie, I'm taking notes in the dark, boo, 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 right? So when I came back, I was like, well, you know what? Let me see how many movies there are about twins. The very first article that came up was an article that said, the year of the twins. That's what the article said, the year of the twins. And this article said that there were 11 movies set to be released. 11 movies set to be released in the year 2025, all of these movies, these 11 movies, there were going to be 11 movies released this year about twins. 11 movies this year released about twins. And so I want to say, because I know the whole idea of like conspiracy theory and conspiracy theorists and everything is a conspiracy. I want to tell you that I am not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not. What I am is a student of the obvious. Do you understand? Not only am I a student of the obvious, I understand, 1, because I'm a Gemini ascendant, 2, because I'm a Virgo sun, 3, because I'm a Capricorn moon. I see everything. I see everything. I see everything. You understand? And when I say that, not only do I see everything, I remember everything. So as soon as I start doing my little deep dive on why this year, why this twin energy this year, why 11, that's literally the Gemini sign, 11 movies this year about twins. Why? Right? Why? Not only was Trump a Gemini sun, y'all, his opponent last year, Kamala Harris, is a Gemini ascendant. She's a Gemini rising. Do y'all think that was an accident? They represent the twins. They represent the mere opposing twins. She black and female and younger than he is. He white and male and old and aristocratic. Do you think that was an accident to place them in this opposition with one another? You understand what I'm saying? These two twins. So this year, that's one thing. There was twin energies all throughout that movie. It wasn't just the quote two obvious twins, which they knew y'all was gonna get stuck on. There were multiple twins. There were multiple twins in this movie, if you care to watch. Because I'm telling you, they playing in your face. All the time, they playing in your face. They, quote, the director of any movie directs you to the conclusion that he wants you to come to. You hear what I'm telling you? He directs you to where he directs you to the conclusion that he wants you to come to, so that you are getting something that he wants you to get, while everyone else is receiving something else from these movies, from this music, whatever it is, right? I'm gonna tell you, it ain't just this movie. It ain't just this twin energy. It's twin energy everywhere in your face. I'm telling you, this BS that y'all just got caught up on with Meg Thee Stallion and not Meg Thee Stallion, with what's her name? Taylor Swift and the other girl, Nicole, whatever her name is, Taylor Swift's fiance's ex. That is twin duality, twin energy duality playing in your face. Playing it. Why? Strategically, why would they do this? Strategically, what? Because I'm always thinking politically. I'm always thinking strategically. Do these numbers not mean anything? Does this symbol that's always hidden in plain sight not mean anything? You're talking about an institution, the musical institution, the movie institution, film and cinema, marketing. All of that, we know these things. They're not even hidden from us. We know that these are considered, quote, nonviolent apparatuses of the state. This is how the state gets certain ideas, almost like a mantra, into our skull, and that changes our behavior. I'm going to mess you up because this goes back into something that I was taking notes on the other night. But here he is. He is the first of his kind in many ways. He is the first president in the history of the United States to serve 2 terms that were not consecutive, meaning back to back. Why they did that? Did they do that to make sure that this symbolism lined up, that this numerology lined up? He is the first president in the history of the United States to be a convicted felon. He is a 34-time convicted felon. Yes, he is. You think they did that on purpose? Right? So much. So this is why this little breakdown that I did right before I got up on here, for those of you who are trying to see it from TikTok, this little breakdown I literally did right before I got up on here in response to the text that my homeboy sent about this little declaration that Candace Owens made about how the Trump administration is going to plan some, quote, 9/11-esque catastrophe, chaotic event next week, the second week in December. And I'm saying you don't have to accept that, is what I'm saying. You understand? What I'm saying is you do not have to accept that. I'm telling you what has been said because it will garner speed. But what I'm saying is even as you articulate what this girl done said, recognize all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that the state is playing in your face. Why is the state playing in your face? To make sure that they can garner, that they can wrangle, that they can control the energy that you produce out of fear, out of uncertainty, out of all of this shit, that they can control it and use it to their own benefit at your detriment. And so the only way to throw a cog in that shit, the only way to throw a cog in their campaign is to say that, the state is not and never has been a friend up to me, has never had my best interest at heart. Excuse me while I itch my legs. Has never had my best interest at heart. It means me no good the state means me no good has never meant me any good. And if I can know those things all the time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, then anything that the state produces, whether it's news, whether it's campaigns, whether it's elections, whether no movies, film, cinema, doesn't matter. That if it is produced by the state, it is against my interest. So I'm not saying don't watch movies. I'm not saying don't listen to music. What I am saying is that if you go into every space and every scenario knowing that there is something, there is an entity that exists that has that thrives for no other reason than to take the energy, to take the power, to take the energetic, calculable force generated by God. Who is God? You. Who is God? You. Who is God? You. 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 The you. You, the individual, you, the collective. Yup, you. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that lightly, and I'm gonna tell you why a little bit later. But I wanted to make sure that if y'all don't get nothing else from this live that I'm doing right now, that you get the essentials. And the essentials is that trust your flesh. That's the first thing. These are the lessons. Trust your flesh. Okay? Trust your flesh. What do I mean by that? I mean, we all, in some way or another, have been socially conditioned for a very, very long time to not trust our flesh. To, especially if you came up in these what you call them, these Abrahamic religions. If you came up in these Abrahamic religions, you understand? What movie? Sinners. See why I tell y'all they be playing games in y'all face. This sister just said that the movie Sinners is set to be re-released in theaters next week on 12/12. There was another movie just a hot second ago that was released on 12/12. I said, look at these games they be playing with y'all. The Matrix was released, what was it, 2 years ago? 2022. 12/12/2022. The Matrix was re-released on December 12th of 2022. I said, look at how they be playing in y'all face. Look at how they be playing in y'all face. Huh? Thank you for that. Caramelized lover. Come on in the room. Huh? They be playing in your face and be taking you everywhere but what you need to be seeing, what you need to be doing, the conclusion that you need to be coming to end your suffering. You understand me? And so let me just round this part out. I took them little notes. I wrote that little shit down because my homeboy, he's around my age, but he is, a middle class white guy, businessman. Everybody is trying to understand what is happening at a deeper level. So even people who wasn't even trying to hear shit about astrology just a year ago, just 2 years ago, now everybody is asking the question. This is deeper than just quote political BS. Something deeper is happening. Something more palpable is happening, and I need to be readjusting my language to understand it. What this middle class white guy from Cleveland, you understand, suit and tie business guy gonna send me a text from I think he in Marrakesh right now, some shit talking about what the astrologers and the numerologists saying about what Candace Owens just said. Why he asked me that? Suit and tie guy, business dude, upper middle class white guy from Cleveland. Why he asked me that? Because the mother is going to work on everybody. The mother is going to work on everyone. I want to tell y'all something. The mother is going to work on everyone. So I want you all to also be mindful that there are a plethora of human beings out there who the mother is going to work on, but they do not have the language or the language or the information to understand what is happening to them. And without the language and understanding, what is happening to them comes off as crazy, as violent, as insane. It is because the mother is harassing them too. But because they don't have an understanding, a language, a way to articulate what the hell is happening to them, the mother is staging a battle, waging a contest in their own skull. Oh, yes, she is. And that may look like madness. So what I want to tell you, I want to tell y'all several things. First of all, trust your flesh. We have been acculturated in a society for a little over 2,000 years now that tells us to not trust ourselves, to not trust our flesh, to not trust our senses, to not trust our eyes, do not rely on our own understanding. What the Bible say? Rely not on your own understanding. What else? What else the Bible say? Trust not your tongue, because life and death is in the tongue. Trust not your heart, because your heart is wicked and will lead you astray. Don't trust no aspect of don't trust what you hear, don't trust what you see. That has been our whole indoctrination. If we came up in any version of these Abrahamic religions, is that your flesh cannot be trusted. So if you stage in a contest with your adversary, the very first thing that you can do that you still have power over is to trust your flesh in opposition to your adversary. So everything your adversary told you, do the opposite. That's my personal position. That's the starting point. That's the starting point. That's the starting point. In the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence, we got many sayings, but one of the sayings that we have, one of the first things that came to me, hold on, let me find my book. One of the first things that came to me when we read The Great Cosmic Mother is, and it was The Great Cosmic Mother. In The Great Cosmic Mother, Barbara Moore was referencing a book that we eventually read called Pure Lust by Mary Daly. Mary Daly was a gangster. So if you have not read Pure Lust, then you can go onto my YouTube channel and hear me read Pure Lust to you. So you don't have to read it. You can read it. You can listen to it while you're riding in your car or whatever. You feel me? But Mary Daly, who became a radical feminist, this woman was a devout Roman Catholic turned radical feminist. And when she went to seminary and got the inside scoop from the horse's mouth, she was like, oh no, this there ain't no changing the church. There is no changing the church. This thing was created in antagonistic opposition to female power. Do you hear me? It was created. Its birth was created as a violently antagonistic response to the power of women. That's what the church was created for. That's what Islam was created for. That is what Judaism was created for. That's what Hinduism and Buddhism was bastardized for. It's violently antagonistic opposition to the power of the female. Do you understand? And so she said, look, if your birth, now this ain't no, so she's talked about the etymology of the word sin, right? Sin. And the etymology, the three etymologies that she pointed to was the Latin etymology, the Greek etymology, and the Hebrew etymology of the word sin. In Hebrew, the word sin means mother moon. That's what it means, sin. In Hebrew, it means mother moon. Yes, it does. In Latin, the word sin etymologically means to be. The word sin means to be. And then in Greek, the word sin means she is. That's what it means. That's what it means. So 3 different etymologies for the word sin from these 3 different patriarchal societies, which literally break down to what? She is to be mother moon. So she say what it sounds like to me is the original sin isn't eating an apple. The original sin is to be born is to be born female. And if your very existence is a sin, am I exaggerating? Every law that exists is in opposition to female sovereignty. So if your very essence is a sin, If the original sin is to be born female, then you may as well sin on purpose. That's what she said. That's what she said. Mary Daly. She said, you might as well sin on purpose. She said, you may as well break all taboos. Come on in the room, Mary. Hold on. She said, if your very beingness is the crime that damns you, you may as well sin on purpose. That's what she said. That's what she said. And so taking up from where she left off, we say in the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence that we sin for salvation. Yes, we do. Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. What does it mean to sin? To do everything in opposition to our adversary. If our adversary says, rely not on your own understanding, we lean into our own understanding. If your adversary says, trust not your eyes, trust not your heart, trust not your tongue, we lean into the desires of those things. We sin for salvation. Somebody got mad. A friend of mine, a homegirl. Because I was like, that's the first tenet. That is the very first tenet of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence, is that we sin for salvation. Yes, we do. We trust us before all others. That our flesh is just as much God as our spirit is. Yes. Oh, where'd she say that at? Where'd she say that? Let me bring Mary into the room real quick. Because Mary came to teach. Mary didn't come to teach. Mary came to crack skulls. Y'all ain't ready for that book. That book put us through some things. Mary came to crack skulls. She said, what did she say? She said, I came up in here to, she said the role of the fates is to cast, what did she say? The role of the fates is to cast a global exorcism. You hear me? What is she exercising? Patriarchy from the whole globe. Its impact on humans, its impact on animals, its impact on the air, on the water, on the trees. She said that's the role of the fates in this moment, is to cast a global exorcism of patriarchy from the spirit of the earth. Yes, that's what she said. Hold on. What'd she say? This book is gangster beyond what you are ready for. When we were reading this book live, baby, every time the women would come into the sisters would come into the live like, okay, I got my wig pinned in, so Mary don't snatch my shit today. You feel me? This book was all the things. Hold on. Let me see if I can find something right off real. She tells a story in here. Yes. Hold on. What's this say here? We should understand. Baby, let me tell y'all about Mary. Hold on just a second. Let me tell y'all about Mary. Hold on. Let me get my my eyes. Let me get my eyes. What's up, big head, baby? Where's that boy? Yeah. Let me get my eyes real quick. Let me spring Mary on y'all real quick, like, because here we are on the crest of this last full moon of the year, and our adversary is literally playing games in our face. And all I saw today was videos about people going out to shop on Black Friday that everybody was supposed to be boycotting. That's all I saw today. Every time I turned on YouTube to try to find some new information about today, all people was talking about was why y'all went shopping when everybody was supposed to be boycotting. Okay, Mary say, in order to understand our elemental powers, it is helpful to consider these three sets of ideas. First, air is associated with the creative breath of life, hence with speech. As inhabitants of the air, lusty women are breathers, speakers of radiant words. Insofar as we are elemental, our speech releases words from the state of contamination. Like a sharp wind, it cuts through smog, clarifying, making it possible to breathe freely again. The more we become attuned to radiant words and give them incarnation in speech, in writing, in music, and in other art forms, as well as in our own lives, the more effectively we remove the man-made obstacles to breathing. Second, air is the stormy wind, connected with the idea of creation. Synonyms for wind suggest the diversity of elemental feminine creativity. These are breeze, gale, hurricane, gust, blast, squall, zephyr, whirlwind, cyclone, typhoon, tornado, waterspout, twister. To have some idea of the diversity, we might compare zephyr to tornado. A zephyr is a light, gentle, delicate wind, one that would not disturb halcyon weather. In contrast to this, a tornado is, quote, a swirling wind accompanied by a funnel shaped cloud moving with a force so violent that it cannot be measured accurately, end quote. We should understand the term violent here in a way totally other than patriarchal violence that intentionally violates. A tornado's violence is simply natural, a wild force. The movement of elemental women is also this forceful in varying styles and velocities. Insofar as we are true to the Gain ecological context, our movement in its diversity is ultimately creative, as are the forces of nature. Elemental creativity is utterly other than the acontextual and anti-contextual meddling with nature that characterizes phallic technocracy. Such meddling, which is anti-creation, is the product and cause of what Paraculus, and doubtless the witches from whom he took his ideas, called elementaries. Elementary, or what also call plastic products and processions are simulations and substitutes for the elemental wild. The elemental wild. The substitution of the elementary for the elemental in women's lives is illustrated in the patriarchal control of women's creativity. Did y'all hear what I just said? The substitution of elementary for the elemental in women's lives is illustrated by the patriarchal control of women's creativity. Thus, our speech is curtailed by manners and lethal custom into polite, shallow verbiage. It is also directed by phallic game rules into flattering, self-denying babble designed to inflate male egos. Our creativity is misdirected into misplaced rage against other women. It is tracked into soap opera level aspects of, quote, relationships. Under therapeutic treatment, it is tracked into psychobabble that closes off deep memory. Come on in the room, Mary. When academically trained, it repeats male theories. Woo! Groomed for professional excellence, it serves phallic institutions. Religious, it worships a male god. The third symbolic aspect of air is its depiction as a medium for movement and for the emergence of life processes. This is particularly important, especially in view of the fact that in patriarchy, women have been denied space. As Virginia Woolf elegantly demonstrates in A Room of One's Own, one thinks of Jane Austen struggling to write her novels in the common room. Denial of physical space is accompanied by overt and subtle levels of denial of mental and emotional space. Whew. Since these space warps are so invisible and subliminal, women struggling under such conditions often feel, quote, spacey and disoriented. This effect is increased by the fact that women are spatially separated from each other on every level, forced into conditions of isolation and alienation, which are felt as ghostly and spooky. Women desperately need our own space and medium for self-centering movement and emergence of life processes. Elemental women create such a medium, making possible exits from confinement in elementary spaces. We strive to create an atmosphere in which further creativity may flourish. Self-identified women thus become self-identified. That is, we become breathers, creators. Whoo! Sheesh! We become breathers and creators of free space. We are windy, stirring the stagnant spaces with life. Oh my God! Lusty elemental women, speaking our own words, heal the broken connections between words and their sources. We reconnect the speaker with her original words, spinning and spirating. Oh my God, spinning and spirating elemental connections between words and sources. We overcome and transverse the verbicide of the ages. Woo! Breathing forth this healing, we confront the agents of gynocide, for we are remembering the archaic lore and the pure lusty logic of our race, the race of women. This elemental verbal power is angelic. The word angel originally means emissary, messenger. An angel is a spiritual being of great intelligence. Claiming that speaking radiant words has angelic power is naming and reclaiming primal force. It is overcoming the false dichotomy between. Yo! It is overcoming the false dichotomy between spirit and matter, proclaiming lust for the integrity of being from which we have been separated and which we have all half forgotten but never lost. Come on in the goddamn room. Come on in the room. Woo! Ooh, 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 ooh. Baby, what did I say? Just starting this, happened to pick up this book. Trust your flesh above all else. Trust your God-given senses before all else. What do I mean by that? Who is God? If you are God, which is what I said, if you are God, then who is God? Who crafted you? Who molded you? Who made you? Your mama, your mother. I know somebody gonna be upset about that because you're all at war with your mamas. I get it. But I am talking about the process that her body allowed for you to be in all her ails, in all her contradictions. She still had the power of the Almighty to allow you to live in her body. That's what we mean when we say mommy and I are one. Just so you know, up in here in the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence, the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence is not a building. The Temple of Evolutionary Emergence is the uterus. It's the uterus. The uterus that gives you, as God, the ability to reproduce its magic, to reproduce its majesty, which is what? And it don't matter what your gender is, whether you male, female, all the genders in between, black, white, all the races in between. The one thing we all got in common is we got a uterus to thank for our existence, for our presence on earth. That uterus gave to us, anointed us, baptized us with the power to create just like she did. That's it. The ability to create anything that we can think of came from the fact that our first experience with the material world came from this person. No matter how flawed she was, no matter how traumatized she was, she made a decision in her body and in her spirit and in her mind. The moment she knew she was pregnant, yes, I am going to remain pregnant, or no, I am no longer going to remain pregnant. That's the decision that God makes. Do you understand? And that decision that allowed for you to be sitting here, hearing me talk to you, is also the entity that allowed for you to come into a world where you have all the power of the universe condensed in your body as you sit here in this moment, perfectly capable beyond your wildest dreams to execute anything that you can imagine. The problem is that our imagination, our ability to imagine has been interrupted. It's been interrupted. And so the charge for us is to remove the obstacle that has caused the interruption. That's your adversary. That's your adversary. That in The Great Cosmic Mother, she makes a statement way late in the book. Like, I think it's in the chapter of the machine, where she says, evil is that which promotes the emergence of the one. That evil is that which prevents the emergence of the one. You hear what I just said? Evil is that which prevents the emergence of the one. Who is the one? Is the one somewhere out in the big black primordial abyss? The one is you. The one is you. Evil is that which prevents the emergence of the one. That's you. That's you. That's you. Evil is anything that prevents the emergence of the one that you have been waiting for, the one that the world has been waiting for, the one that every last one of your brothers and sisters, all your kinmen, you are the one that the world has been waiting for. You are the one that you have been looking outside yourself to find. You are the one that you have been waiting for. And so anything that has prevented, has gotten in front of, has stood in the way of the emergence of the one is evil. Who is that? That's your adversary. That's your adversary. You understand me? And I'm going to tell you, it's so much deeper than we ever give space for. And I'm going to tell you why it's so much deeper, and it's so difficult, seemingly difficult for us to come to a singular conclusion. A singular conclusion. I'm not talking about we all have to believe the same thing. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that we have to all have to think the same way. That's not what I'm saying. The singular conclusion that we are all charged to come to is how to end a world of suffering once and for all. That's it. That's the only conclusion. That's the only conclusion. Now, that conclusion may present itself in 8 billion different ways. There's 8 billion people on the planet. That conclusion may present itself in 8 billion different ways. That conclusion may have the skills of 8 billion different human beings, but the conclusion is singular. How to change the world once and for all. How to end evil on this planet once and for all. How to usher in what the mother promised us, which was what? A Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden isn't somewhere on the planet somewhere. The planet is the Garden of Eden. It's staring you right in your face. The Garden of Eden. It's staring you in your face even now. That's why I named this live. Faith is the sickness. Belief is the prescription, and both are deadly. Because faith requires you to believe against the evidence that the mother presents to you every single day, every single day, every single day. And the more violent your opposition gets, the more violent your adversary gets, the more you can recognize that the reason he is so violent, the reason he is so angry, the reason he is so destructive is because he is like, damn, we've been giving the mother hell for damn near 6,000 years. Ain't there anything that we can do to get rid of this bitch? Why she still come back? We done polluted the environment. We done polluted the water. We done cut down the trees. We done completely massacred all of her siblings. We have cut every human being off from her presence, and she still just keep coming and coming and coming. Like, damn, like, damn. Is there nothing that we can do to get rid of this woman, this entity called the mother? Because no matter what they have done, guess what? If left alone, if you go out into the woods somewhere that has not been directly impacted by patriarchy in your life, there will be some medicine that you can pick right up out the ground, that you can pull right off a plant, that you can pull right off a tree. There'll be some fruit, if left the hell alone, that will just fall off a tree for free. Imagine that. There'll be something that'll grow right up out the ground without you having to toil at all. Without you having to break the soil, without you having to plant the seed, without you. This was the Garden of Eden. Without you having to toil at all. Left alone, left to her doing, everything that you need was provided. And what is wrong with all of us, the origin of, the agent of sickness, is that we all have within every cell and every mitochondria within us, we have a deep locked memory of this age where toil was not necessary for our life on earth, where our default was not suffering and shit. We all remember it, and we have been constantly poured into to make sure that that locked memory does not come to the surface. That's what this shit does. That's what these terror campaigns are for. That's what these narratives are for. That's what philosophy is for. I know somebody's going to get mad. That's what psychology is for. Somebody's going to get upset. Is to pathologize rebellion. Somebody's going to be upset. Somebody is going to be upset. All of this madness you have been fed has been a concerted, duplicitous, evil effort to suppress the mother wherever she has the nerve to emerge. I think we're having like tremors here, y'all. Oh no, it's my cat. Boy, get your butt, move your butt. I'm like, why is my computer keep shaking? I'm thinking we having tremors. My cat is like leaning up against the leg of my darn desk, scratching his butt, scratching his balls. And every time he's scratching his balls, he's shaking my desk. I'm like, are we having tremors? Anyway, you understand me? I'm telling you, I had been on one up in here this week. It's like revelation after revelation, shit I wasn't even looking for. And she is like cracking my skull wide open. She like, you need to see everything. You need to be able to break this shit down to elementary 1 + 1 = 2 so everybody can see it. Everybody needs to be empowered. Everybody needs to look in the mirror and to be able to see God in themselves for real. Not, child. Ooh. Let me just tell you something. I was talking a couple weeks ago. I don't even remember what the topic of the live was, but I was talking about my initial frustration when I got to LA about how spirituality looks out here. I was perpetually annoyed and frustrated with the way that spirituality presents itself in Los Angeles, right? Trying to get to without judgment. That was the frustration. It was like everybody's on a journey, everybody's on a mission, everybody's trying to figure this thing out the best they can with the information that they have. So me trying to be non-judgmental in my assessment, in my understanding, in observing what it was about spirituality in this city that was annoying the hell out of me everywhere I went. And I'll be honest, yes, we can talk about white people and white people's spirituality and its peculiar nature, but not exclusive to them. Because I've been in all the spaces. I've been in indigenous spaces. I've been in the Sweat Lodge, the Inipi. I've been in Temescal. I've been in ceremony with the Mayan people, the Mexica, the Azteca people. I've been in a lot of ceremony. Ifa over there on the East Coast, you feel me? And there was this thing that was and I'm always self-critical, always overly self-critical as a Virgo, as you know. And so every time I would feel this this frustration about how I was experiencing spirituality in these different spaces, but was really in being self-critical, very careful about how I articulated that in a way that did not feel like judgment. You know what I'm saying? Because it's still a flaw that I have where I I can lean to in a knee-jerk way. If I don't sit back and assess, my knee-jerk is to be judgmental. That's that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, I ain't even try to be all deep about it. That's that bullshit. You feel me? And I was really in an active, perpetual ceremony with myself to not allow my knee-jerk, conditioning, my tendency towards judgment, get in the way of what I was experiencing in these different ceremonial, quote, spiritual spaces, and why I was always frustrated and annoyed. And that's not to say that I have not had very impactful breakthroughs in ceremony, in these ceremonial spaces. But a lot of the time I had to wade through a lot of BS to get for myself what was needed or required of me in the moment. You understand? And I'm telling y'all this for a reason, because everybody is searching. Everybody is looking. Quote, spirituality is a multi-billion-dollar a year industry here in the United States. And so a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I was talking about this perpetual frustration with the way spirituality looks and how there's certain things I'm not going to do. And it may be the reason that, I don't have the numbers on my YouTube channel that I should have. I don't have quote, the followers on my TikTok or my IG or these spaces that I should have, because there's certain things I'm just not going to do. And the walk in my peculiar experience that I had to go through has gotten me to this conclusion at the age of 50 this year, that there are certain things I'm not going to do, because those things, in my estimation, have always facilitated a certain kind of spiritual betrayal, that you can almost guarantee that if you see certain things in ceremonial spiritual spaces, they are preceding an inevitable spiritual betrayal. You understand? And I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be me all the time, whether I am in ceremony, whether I am facilitating ceremony or ritual for others, whether I am in practice as an acupuncturist. It doesn't matter. The me that you see will always be the me that I am. Why is that? Why? I always tell the temple, the people who follow the temple, you will never get pomp and circumstance from me. Pomp, for those who do not know what pomp and circumstance is, it is the act. It is the regalia. It is and once we put on the regalia, it's like we become something different. We become sanctimonious. We talk differently and we behave differently when we pray or when we sing the songs, the praise song. It's the we that when we become a preacher, we get on the pulpit and we talk in a rhythmic way, like the I cannot. Now, listen, I get it. You understand? That's why I had to preface where I do not want to come off as judgmental, but I also want us to be clear that the state is in every space. Your spirituality, your religion of choice, your religion of birth, every spiritual space, the cultural traditions of your ancestors, there's not a space. Your inclination to go twice a year to Peru to do ayahuasca, there is not a space where the state has not infected your spiritual spaces, your spiritual ceremony, your cultural traditions, your traditions of origin. Your ancestral traditions are all infected with patriarchy. They are infected with the state. That's what I was frustrated. Now I'll take it a step deeper. Not only is your spiritual spaces infected with the cancer of patriarchy, your bedroom is infected. Your love life is infected. What people are experiencing is the apex moment where we must make a decision about the treatment for this cancer that we have come face to face with that is threatening our very lives. You understand what I'm saying? When you get sick and you let it go and you let it go and you ignore it and you ignore it. You hate hospitals, you hate doctors, you ignore it and you ignore it, but you don't do nothing about it. You don't do nothing about it. And then finally, you get to this moment where the doctor tells you, look, it's do or die now. Either you gonna get the treatment that you need, and now that you done let it go so long, now the treatment's got to be aggressive. We can't do no gentle treatment now. Now the treatment got to be aggressive because you done waited. You done held out for the best. You know what I'm saying? You done had faith and belief with no evidence. You feel what I'm saying? Now you at this moment where, look, the doctor done told you, look, you understand what I'm saying? You now we got to go up in here like we staging war, like we staging a contest. Because this cancer that you have allowed to live in you, this cancer that you have not only allowed, but has thrived off you. Everything that you do is feeding this cancer. Every time you go to the grocery store because you hungry to buy some food, you're going to go home and prep and cook, and you do all the work and do not benefit because this cancer, this parasite in you thrives off every single expression of your essence, your labor, your thought, your behavior in the world, your relationships. You think that orgasm is benefiting you? Do you think that? No, it's benefiting the parasite that thrives off everything that gives you life. So you eating, you cooking, you going to work to get the food to cook, you doing all the things and get none of the benefit. You still getting skinnier and skinnier and skinnier because you have allowed this cancer to consume everything that is supposed to give your flesh pleasure. Oh yeah. Everything that is supposed to give your flesh pleasure is denied you and automatically becomes the sole possession of the parasite you have allowed to live in you. That's patriarchy. So everybody talking about the male loneliness epidemic. Everybody talking about why all the women done stop. That's the position that we have to take is, quote, sexless lives and shit. Every expression of everything wrong is because a parasite thrives on us all. All of us are sick with the madness of patriarchy. There is not one among us who is not. Not one. I had an old head, one of my mentors. She told me, now she was talking about, because this was when I was a political activist, a hardcore black nationalist. And she used to say, I've been in the movement. She said, I've been in the movement 40 years of my adult life. She was way older than 65 when she told me this. She said, I've been in the movement 40 years of my adult life. And she said, no matter how much political work I've done, no matter how much political education, no matter what kind of awesome shit I have contributed to, the only way to be, quote, a good revolutionary is to recognize that until we win, the greatest war that we will fight is the war that we engage in consciously when our feet hit the floor first thing in the morning. That first thing in the morning, I know that the war that must be won is with the war that I stage with her words were, with the cracker in my head. Now, we can grow and evolve and say that it's with the patriarch. It is with the great white Father God, white long hair flowing Father God on a gold throne in a white non-existent heaven with the pearly gates and all the white angels with all the white skin and all the white clouds. We all are sick. We all are sick. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so I'm telling y'all that until we can seize a contest with the patriarch that we have allowed to take up all the space of our personal heaven, all the space of our personal heaven. Is heaven white? Is heaven white? Like, we done sent probes out into the universe where we can take pictures of astronomical structures that are 6 billion light years away. Have you ever seen a white heaven anywhere in all of these pictures that we got? Have you ever seen a white heaven anywhere? Where in the entirety of the entire universe does a white heaven exist? Right here on Earth, during them 12 hours a day where the sun is facing your side of the earth? Huh? I'm always talking about this song that came out in the 70s, Blinded by the Light. Blinded, I don't know who it was by. Blinded by the light. Huh? Why are we blinded by the light? Because if you go out tomorrow and ask some child, what color is the sky? They're going to tell you the sky is blue. That child is going to tell you that the sky is blue. Why is that child going to tell you the sky is blue? Because a 6,000 solar-centered deity worship ideology that permeates every science, that permeates every philosophy, that permeates every religion, where we placed the son of the mother above the mother. And so that child, not understanding anything about that, is going to say, I know the sky is blue because that's what I see. The sky is not blue. Not only is the sky not blue, the sky has never been blue. The sky has never been blue. The sky will never be blue. What color is the sky? Not only that, when I say blinded by the light, you go outside in the daytime. If it was always daytime, if there was never no night, would you ever know that you were not alone? Would you ever know that you are one among billions, trillions in the universe? If you could not see the night sky ever again, would you ever even have the concept of what stars are? Would you ever even know what a star is? No. Why? Because you are blinded by the light. Would there be a need for the moon if the sun was out all day, all the time? No. Not only that, what would the environment be on this earth if there was no night ever? Just like the Sahara Desert. No trees, no lakes, no streams, no rivers. There wouldn't be. And so, for those of you on TikTok, I have to keep saying that because I teach this all the time. I teach it from the science that I practice, which is 5 elements theory, Chinese medicine, that we are blinded by the light. Chinese medicine and a score of other philosophies teaches us what? That we as humans are a reflection of both the micro, which is each cell, each atom in our body, and the macro, which is the greater universe. We are this kind of space in between, the bridging of the horizon. Our heart is represented by that space where the horizon, where we, when I read to y'all earlier, I say we the tree, we the weavers. I'm talking about literally. I'm talking about literally. I'm not talking about figuratively. I'm saying that when we look out in the horizon, and instead of seeing ourselves, each one of us as the sun and her particular relationship to heaven and earth at the horizon. That's who we are. We are the stargates. We are the bridge between heaven and earth. Each one of us, not something outside of us. We are the bridge between heaven and earth. We are, each one of us. The bridge that I'm speaking of, we have the ability to become as a consequence of those who incarnate on this planet with an actual wormhole in their body, an actual stargate in their body, an actual bridge between the greatest far reaches of the universe and the material realm that we exist in right now. It is because somebody who has a stargate in her abdomen that the ancient Chinese called heaven. Oh yeah, they did. They called it heaven at first, and then, the slow takeover of patriarchy, they changed it from heaven to the palace. The uterus is called the emperor's palace right now today in Chinese medicine. In Chinese medicine, the uterus is called the lower palace or the emperor's palace, the palace for whom the emperor must come through. Who is the emperor? In Chinese medicine, your heart is the emperor. Your individual heart is the emperor. So when it talks about the lower palace or the emperor's palace through whom the emperor must come, it is talking about you as your own universe, as your own sovereign, as your own son, as your own sun, rising and descending every single day. You are the God of your universe. You are the emperor. You are the sovereign. And this thing, your adversary, this thing, what am I always telling y'all that the Bible say? What does the Bible say? The adversary is the author of all confusion. That's why I'm always telling y'all, simplify. The adversary, the Bible don't say the devil, you know what I'm saying? It don't say Satan, it don't say Lucifer. The Bible says the adversary is the author of all confusion. The adversary is the author of all confusion. The adversary is the author of all confusion. That's why I'm always saying simplify, simplify, simplify. What does the word war mean? What does the word war etymologically means? Etymologically, the word war means to cause confusion. That's what it means. What does the Bible say? The author of all confusion is the adversary. The adversary is the author of all confusion. Lo and behold, the word war means to cause confusion. That's what it means. That's what it means. Simplify. I was listening to this dude. His YouTube is Morgue Official, and he said in quote this piece that he did called "I Discovered the Key to Immortality," and it's based on quote the lost books of the New Testament. And so in the book of Thomas, he says that Jesus tells his disciples that the true key to immortality, is to always recognize what is right in front of you. Simplify. Simplify. You have been fed for at least 100 years, more like 150 years, a horror story about the revelations and the Antichrist and the apocalypse. And then you have been directed to imagine in your heaven, which is the source of your power, your heaven, you have been taught to imagine that the apocalypse, the revelations, the four horsemen, the end of the world, and all of that shit is some monstrous vision of the future of famine and war and men with power that do all this diabolical stuff. And what did the Bible say? Something in Isaiah about that God's judgment was passed because you sacrificed your children on the altar of iniquity and all of this shit. And so you see in your mind's eye, which is the source of your creative power, your ability to imagine. Your ability to imagine has been taken from you. You have posted up in your skull instead of your consciousness looking like it's supposed to in your imagination, like what you see in the night sky, right? Literally. Go and look at an EKG. The EKG ain't booming white. No, it's not. The images on the EKG is jet black, and it only fires momentary sparks of light wherever these synapses join together and pop off. A new idea has become a thing inside of you. Instead of your heaven in your imagination looking like the black ass sky that is the primordial she, and all of these stars and luminaries in these skies being a map to always lead you back to yourself. That's what they're for. That's what they're for. The luminaries exist to always remind you that no matter what kind of bullshit happening here on the earth, you can look up and see yourself and remember how to come back to you. Remember how to get back to you. And instead of seeing this great, beautiful orchestration of our mother in the heaven as the macro of who we are here in this place in between heaven and earth, and our micro, which is every single cell in our body constantly fighting. Just remember, you got it. Come on, keep coming. You close. And instead of seeing that, what you see in your head is what your yoga teacher teaches you. I want you to imagine a bright white light in your head, and that bright white light coming down as medicine, healing every chakra. Isn't that what you're taught? I used to teach Qigong. That's what we were taught. Imagine the bright white light of the sun filling up your head so there is no darkness. That's a spell. That's a spell that has been cast on you. That's a spell. You understand? Because right now, today, in these spiritual spaces, because we haven't been given a language that is antagonistic to the Father God who erected himself out of our sickness. And so because there is no conflicting language, this should exist everywhere, baby. But because we have not been given an alternate language, let me show y'all something. This is what I teach to the regulars. You feel me? So here we got the yin and the yang that everybody loves so much, and everybody talking about, oh, it means harmony and balance. It means divine harmony between the sacred masculine and the divine feminine. That's what y'all say. That simple, that easy. You understand? And it's because every time you see the yin and yang, you just see a two-dimensional symbol. And you're like, this cute. I'm going to get this tattoo right here. This symbol is not two-dimensional. It's multi-dimensional. It includes all time, all space, every dimension, every possibility, every past, every future. It represents every being. It represents what y'all call, quote, binaries, and y'all get so hot under the collar about, quote, gender binaries, are not binaries. They are polar expressions. This is one pole. This is the masculine pole. This is the feminine pole. This is the quote male pole. This is the female pole. And within the distance between the two poles is all other possibilities. That means all genders, all races. The pole here is all white. The pole here is all black. The pole here is noon in the desert. No yin no yin present. The pole here, the feminine pole, is black on a dark moon, on a new moon. No yang present. And still, guess what? All the possibilities in between. All the expressions, all the manifestations in between. But this isn't just about medicine. This isn't just about Chinese medicine, because every culture on earth has a version of this very symbol. It is about this symbol here is the universe. This symbol here is a map of the universe. This symbol here is about the greatest imaginable macro and the smallest imperceptible micro, all of which inhabit both the yang and and the yin. Do you understand? And the reason that this becomes important is when I'm talking about my irritants with everybody in these spiritual spaces, talking about we're just gonna pray for the light. You know, we have to pray for the light. Imagine a bright white light in your head. Ifa is guilty. Somebody gonna be mad. Ifa is guilty. And I love this tradition, but I'm telling you, I'm having a breakthrough the fuck up in here. Ifa talks about Obatala, the god of the white light, the god of the white cloth, who sits in your head. Every time you see Obatala, you see a giant bright light booming out of his forehead, so brilliant that you cannot even see his own face. Isn't that what you see when you Google images of Obatala, who is said to have, quote, given you your Ori? Obatala did not give you your Ori. I'm telling you, somebody gonna be mad. Obatala did not give you your Ori. Your mother gave you your Ori. Your mama gave you your Ori. It was her 9-month sacrifice. Oh, oh, shoo. Whoa. Wow. Ooh. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Shit. Ooh. Mm. Ah. Mm. Mm. Listen, Obatala did not give you your Ori. Your mother gave you your Ori. You understand me? And so all y'all talking about the white light in your head, the white light in your head, the white light in your head. If you look, for those of you who are scientists, if you look at an EKG, baby, you are not looking at no white light. There is no white light in your head. There is no white light in your head. What there is the primordial jet black generative essence that is the mother. The jet black beginning of all that is, the quote dark matter that generated from itself everything that is. Every luminary in the universe was given birth to by this cosmic, primordial, ever-present blackness that is imperceptible to us. That no matter how far out into the far reaches of the universe we go, we never get to the black because we are in the black. We're in it. There is nothing to get to. There's nothing to go to. She is ever present. She is ever present. Right here in front of you, and you looking everywhere, but right here in front of you. Her blackness, her ever presence. We are in it. There's nothing to get to. There's nothing to, quote, grab a hold of. You feel me? Every luminary, every body, every quartz, every quasar, everything that exists within the primordial blackness that generates all that there is. These lights, these moments of light, the divine feminine and sacred masculine personified in the yin and yang, according to Lao Tzu. The harmonizing energy between the masculine and the feminine is not man and woman or, husband and wife. It is son and mother. This is the divine harmony laid out by Lao Tzu, is son and mother. That is the divine harmony. That is the divine harmony represented by, quote, the sacred masculine and the divine feminine. And y'all always want to make it some bullshit. It ain't bullshit. It is the divine harmonious relationship between the mother and her son. The mother and her son. And the reason son is specified is a scientific recognition that the mother, when she was spontaneously procreating, when she was generating herself out of herself with her daughters, the period where females are said to have been parthenogenic. And at some juncture in that evolutionary process, she turns in on herself and mutates herself in her relationship with the earth, like every creature does. Says, my daughters need partners. And she turns in on herself and impregnates herself with her first son. This is the relationship spoken about in the Bible, by the way, if you know how to read your book, right? In every society, somebody mentioned Wadu. Somebody mentioned Maolisa earlier, the divine androgyne. Everything that was necessary for creation already existed within her. That's why she's called the grand androgyne. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so when people start talking about praying for the light, okay, so this is me. If you hear anybody say it, call their asses out, because nobody else has ever said it. This is from me. This is mine. You understand? So what I've been teaching for 5 years now about this relationship and being able to understand yin and yang when looking at the political world or looking at the economic world. Yin and yang helps you to understand everything that can be, will be, should be, has been. Yin and yang is a functional, living instrument tool, bridging all time, all dimensions. You understand? And so if we are talking about what we're experiencing politically in the world using yin and yang, then I have coined the period that we are living in as the period of utmost yang. This is what this is called. When you see this cross here that's supposed to be positive, this is the period of utmost yang. Utmost yang is noon in the desert. No yin necessary. No yin present, meaning all yin has been removed. And Lao Tzu said that the nature of yang is always destructive. The nature of yang is always destructive. And the only time yang has the ability to be nutritive, nurturing, supportive, generating is when it is in a harmonious relationship with yin. It has to be, quote, the quote is that yang must be anchored by the yin. Yang must be embraced by the yin. Yang must be anchored by the yin. If the yang is not anchored by the yin will destroy everything yin. Is that not the period that we're living in? When I talk about we are living politically in the age of utmost yang literally represented by the cross. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, no yin, no feminine energy present. No feminine energy present. Not only that, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit has become white. So you are that's what yang is. It is represented by white. It is represented by fire, the sun, the S-O-N, the S-U-N. It is represented by fire. It is destructive. It's aggressive. Unless it is anchored in its relationship with yin, that energy, which should be supportive, will now become destructive. Am I imagining this? According to this theory by Lao Tzu, he says that yang is always destructive. What does it mean when I say that we are living in the age of utmost yang? It means that under this most recent personification of patriarchy, because whiteness is not the origin of patriarchy. It's not. Patriarchy has had many phases and personifications. This personification of patriarchy is this peak personification. This is also a calendar, by the way. This is also a clock, by the way. This is the peak personification of a long process of the hostile takeover of what we call the sun in rebellion, the sun gone rogue, the S-O-N rebelling against its mother, the sun rebelling against its mother. This is the peak personification of the sun in rebellion, or what I call the sun gone rogue, the era of the sun gone rogue. What is the evidence of that? The evidence of that is that when I say that the sun is destructive, unless anchored in a relationship with its mother, and when the sun is in his destructive phase, he will destroy the only thing that he can destroy. He can't destroy yang, because yang is imperceptible. You can't grab light, you can see it. Fire, you can see it, but you can't touch it, taste it, smell it. You can smell the impact of it, right? Oxygen, you know you need it, but you can't touch it, see it, taste it, smell it. But you stop breathing for 10 minutes and you know you need oxygen. But oxygen is also destructive, isn't it? When they look at them little oxygen tanks and it's got a big old, it says flammable, combustible, because it is not anchored by those two little hydrogen molecules. What you think you breathing, that's air. It's not air that you breathing, boo. It's H2O. That oxygen has to be anchored by those two oxygen molecules. You understand? And so yang is always destructive. Always. Unless it is anchored in its relationship harmoniously with the yin. If it's in its destructive phase, the only thing it can destroy is yin. Am I wrong in this age of the sun gone rogue? What is being destroyed by the sun gone rogue? The sun gone rogue being white nationalism as the primary face of power in this phase of human history. What is the evidence of the sun gone rogue and its destructive nature? It's the hole in the ozone layer. I just told you ain't breathing air, you breathing H2O. Why is there a hole in the ozone layer? Because the sun gone rogue has destroyed the yin. Why are there deserts? Do you know that deserts are not a naturally occurring phenomenon on Earth? Did you know that? The deserts are man-made. It is the behavior of human beings that creates deserts, that causes desertification. Did you know that? That is the evidence of the sun gone rogue, where nothing can grow, nothing can flourish, and all the water leaves the area, the desert. This is the evidence politically and ecologically of the sun gone rogue, right? The quality of water. Did you know that 100 years ago, every single source of fresh water in the United States of America you could drink out of without filtering? Do you know that today there is not a single source of fresh water on this continent that you can drink without filtering, without purifying? Did you know that? That is the war on the mother caused by the sun gone rogue. It's just a different way to communicate the same thing. Do you understand? And so when I tell people that if this is high noon, The sun gone rogue. If this is high noon in the desert at high noon, when you have like a what do you call it? A sundial. The reason they knew it was high noon was because at high noon there is no shadow cast. At high noon there is no shadow cast. Okay, and so if you in the desert at high noon, meaning there's no shadow cast, this is utmost y'all in the desert at high noon, no shadow cast. Your canteen is empty. You feel me? You don't see an oasis nowhere in sight. You don't even see a boulder, a rock. And even if you did, the boulder or rock still ain't cast no shadow because it's high noon. You don't see no trees. You don't even see no animals. Even the animals are underground trying to avoid the sun. You feel me? And you in the desert. And you on your last leg. You ain't got no water in your canteen. Are you praying for more light? Are you praying for more light? If you are in the desert at high noon when the sun is the strongest, no shadow cast, no breeze, no wind, not a cloud in sight, no oasis, no trees, no animals. If you are surrounded by white light in a white desert in white clothes, are you praying at that moment? Are you praying for more light? You can answer. It's not a rhetorical question. You can answer. Since it looked like the only people, I don't know what's going on with my YouTube, but it looked like the only people with me are y'all on TikTok. Are you praying for more light? The answer is no. As a matter of fact, that if you are in the desert at high noon in your white garbs to quote reflect the sun, you feel me? Your canteen is empty. There ain't a boulder, an animal, an oasis, or tree, nothing in sight. Are you praying for more light? No. What are you praying for? Actually, what are you praying for? You praying for the sun to go down as quick as possible. Oh my God, I can't wait till the sun go down. Oh my God, please let me find a rock that I can get some shade. Oh my God, can I just find an oasis? Can I just find a tree, some water, something? Can I find an animal that I can kill and drink its blood to try to keep myself alive? You are not praying for the light. In fact, everything that you would pray for is yin. Everything that you would pray for is yin. It is shade. It is dark. It is, please let it be dewy at night. Can the moon be full so there can be some dew on a rock that I can at least lick a rock, lick the water off a rock in the morning? The oasis, the trees, everything that you would pray for in the desert at high noon is yin. Yet your meditation leader, your qigong teacher, your yoga instructor is telling you pray for more light, pray for more light, pray for more light, pray for more light. The light, 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 the light. I'm telling you that your spiritual system has been infected by patriarchy, and it was so subtle in its takeover. It was so subtle that you literally have been praying for your own destruction. I know it seems subtle. I know it seems too simple, but I'm telling you, when you are laying in deep meditation, and despite the fact that when you close your eyes, you see pitch black, this person is in your head with this mesmerizing voice telling you, using what? Using hypnosis. Using what? Using the scientifically proven impact of mantra and meditation to will you to envision against your flesh. What did I say? Trust your eyes. When you close your eyes, you see jet black. Why this person in your head with this deep rhythmic voice telling you that Imagine the sun as a great light of healing coming in to your head and filling your entire head with brilliant white light. And imagine this white light coming and healing your throat chakra. And imagine this white light healing your, The state has infected everything that you think is spiritual life and spirituality. It has. It has. So your logic will teach you. Oh, okay. So that's what's wrong. Because I was like, what? It's literally showing that my my YouTube is streaming, and somebody's saying that the live isn't showing up on my end. So let me X out of this, because I was like, this is unusual for me to have nobody